What's going on? Welcome back to the No Clue Podcast, episode 192. We are back. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mike.
I'm Tyler. Welcome.
The NBA season is officially underway.
Yeah, I believe, is everyone at 4 games now? I believe something like that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into the NBA, and if we have time, we'll talk a little bit about football. But first, what team do you want to talk about first? What team stands out the most to you?
The most? Ooh, that's
Yeah.
going to be, you're not going to be ready.
Okay.
Well, I guess I kind of called it, but the Trailblazers are 4-0.
4-0.
A strong 4-0. They have probably the best clutch player in the league. A lot of people forgot. And what are they doing? Winning close games.
Yeah, against good teams too. Yeah, teams that should beat them, you would think, on paper. Yeah, man. I mean, Damian looks fantastic, of course.
Of course.
The Simons in Lillard backcourt was one I think a lot of people were hesitant to buy into and were anxious to see, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Damian is a good your turn, my turn kind of player. And I don't mean that in a one-on-one way, but in a, if you're eating, Damian's going to keep feeding you. Like, if you're playing good, he's not going to say, all right, it's my turn. I need some shots. It's like, if you have 50, Dame's okay with getting 16 if the team wins. I don't think he gets enough credit for that, because most point guards in the league right now, like other than Steph, I'm not sure if I could say that about a lot of other like real scoring point guards.
No.
Yeah, so the unselfishness that this team plays with is refreshing. Hart is doing like he's being their ultimate utility guy. We already knew Grant was going to come in and be a utility guy. He's checking the best player on the other team every night. Grant is finishing huge shots for them as well.
Yes.
Making huge defensive plays for them. I'm talking like all around of Nurkic somehow.
But
Nurkic is playing all right. I mean, he's doing all he needs to do. Yeah,
he is. He's moving the ball. He's not like trying crazy stuff all the time.
No, he's not.
My thing is with Grant, like, to me, they finally have a forward who's actually dominant athletically.
Absolutely.
Like, they would get guys in the past that to me are athletic on paper, but it's not really like showing an impact in the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go down the list of guys because I feel like we've, discredited them enough.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are struggling to find jobs now. So, it proves the point a little bit. But Grant is such a high level athlete. Like it shows on every possession, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they needed somebody like that.
Absolutely. And they played the Suns, the Lakers, and the Nuggets, who are, I mean, obviously people, because of how the Lakers have been playing, don't have them as contenders, but the Suns and Nuggets are surely contenders.
Yes.
The Lakers still have 3 Hall of Famers on their team, so it's not like the Blazers were supposed to win the game, is all I'm saying. And they look great against all these teams.
And I'm gonna need the NBA to get right and start moving Portland to the ESPN TNT games ASAP.
Yeah. For real, every time you get a Damian versus any other top tier point guard matchup, it needs to be on television because it's great television. And they showed that last season was such a team builder for their bench. Their depth would not look good if they didn't have this last season where guys, I want to say their names, so give them some credit. Where Greg Brown III, Keon Johnson, Nasir Little, who was good before Damian went out, had a great,
shout out to him,
great last season. Yep. Winslow is coming in and being able to fit the role that he needs to be. He's doing what he needs to do. He's guarding the best backups. Using his athleticism, his strength, because he is super strong. Jabari Walker looks pretty good for them. And then Shaden Sharp is easing into the team very nicely. He's playing off the ball really well, which can be a struggle for rookies like him who come into the league as a mystery one, but as someone who was like supposed to be a 30 point a game scorer, in high school or wherever he played. Um, he's coming in and moving off the ball really nicely. He's cutting well. He's hitting open shots. I think that he'll just build up more and more and more for them. So yeah, man, they look great. I love watching them play. Actually, I really do. And they don't even have Gary Payton the second yet.
I know.
He's coming.
And that's what I kind of imagine them. And maybe that's why we used to get excited about all their off seasons, is because guys, the way they play, a lot of free agents or rookies should come in and fit easily.
Yeah.
And finally, we're seeing that.
Yep. And one reason why we're always excited for their free agency moves and offseason moves is because we know Damian is a great leader.
I know.
And we really want to see what you put around a great leader, because we do always imagine it's going to work. Because how do you not want to play with Damian Lillard, man? How do you not want to play a game where you never feel like you're out of the game? You never feel like it's over. It's 1 second on the clock. We still feel like we can win this game. Everybody wants to play with somebody like that. And Damian is that guy. And, in the last 2 games, even though he's hit the clutch shot to keep them in the game, it's been Simons, it's been Grant who's hit the game winners.
Yep.
And also they don't have Trendon Watford back yet, who had a really good season last season. He's going to be another one of those bench guys, those role guys who got to really shine and got to improve his game over the last season, where they were basically not really tanking, but they were just without their best players. So
yeah,
man, I like Portland. I don't know how I feel about them towards the end of the season, but right now they're one of the best teams to watch right now. For
sure. That's all I ask. I just want to see them more. I want them to prove to us that they're this good.
Yeah. And Nas Little, the role that Chauncey has found for him is working. I think when Stotts was there, that was probably his rookie year. I think he was really awkward. I do think he was trying to fill in the Aminu role, where it's like, we need you as the toolkit guy for us. And that really, at least as a rookie, was a lot to ask of him.
And hang out in the corner.
Right. And may or may not have been his game. And lately, he's really improved his jump shot. He's being more selective with his offense. So it's looking more efficient. He's looking a lot more efficient for them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing negative you could say about Dame. Dame is great. I mean, he's right now, obviously he's only 4 games, but right now he's one of the most valuable players in the league for their team.
No question. A long shot.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see, who else we want to talk about?
You want to stay positive?
Yeah, let's stay positive. Let's talk about Utah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about Utah, man.
You got to tell me about him, because I haven't gotten a chance to see any of the games yet.
Well, we mentioned in the preview that this team has a lot of good pieces. They have a lot of good players that could play on just about any other team. A lot of really desirable players. You got Talen Horton-Tucker, who was a desirable trade piece last season. Clarkson, Sexton, Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Conley, Rudy Gay, who's longtime vet, Markkanen, who's great, Olenek, who's great. And then you got the young guys, Kessler, Abaji, Johnny Juzang, Azubuike is in maybe his 3rd year now, but another young guy who's just, these guys are just blossoming at the right time, where this team has no expectations. They have no, no one is, there's no pressure this season for this team, and they're coming out and they're killing people, man. and they move the
Yeah.
ball. They swing it. They have a lot of guys who are hungry, and they're just going 100% at all times. And is this new coach? I want to say his name is Hardy. Is it Hardy? Do you know?
I don't remember, to be honest. Boston assistant.
Yeah, Will Hardy. Will Hardy. Um, he has these guys. They sub in, sub out. Everyone gets a lot of minutes, and they just it's like they play until their battery is out, and then he's all right. Someone else go in and use their battery, and they just go 110% all the time. And he's got the guys to do it. Sexton is one of those guys who plays hard.
He's a great leader for that.
Every second he's on the floor, he's out there dogging you as much as he can.
I know.
Taylor Horton Tucker is a guy who's used to coming in being a instant offense kind of guy for the Lakers. Not that he was the best in the league at it, but the Lakers were also dysfunctional. But he comes in and does the same thing. Clarkson, another guy, he used to coming in and being right into scoring. He starts the game. He starts for them now. Does the same thing. It's just, they look really, really good. And I know that they still want to break up this team to get more picks, but I really don't want them to at this point. I kind of like what they're doing. The team is pretty young.
They're very young.
It's just Conley and Rudy that are old. I guess Olynyk is getting up there, but he's not close to them. But
it was nice to see Markkanen play well. I'll say that. I did notice that. What was it, game 1 or 2, I think? But he looked exactly like what we saw from him in the FIBA. Versatile, aggressive. Like that's one thing I hated about him in Cleveland is he's not aggressive at all.
Right.
Honestly, towards his end of Chicago time, he was the same thing. He wasn't really aggressive. Now he's attacking. Like, that's all I wanted to see from him.
Yeah, he's averaging 22 and 9 right now. I mean, looks great. He looks great, yeah. Olynyk is averaging 16 and 3 assists for them, which is pretty cool. Olynyk starting is interesting too, because he starts sometimes for them at least.
Olynyk is a good, like, versatile big. He scores a lot of ways, spaces the floor well.
Yeah, but he plays hard D.
Yeah,
plays hard D. Foul, he'll hack somebody, hard screens. Yeah, I mean, they're fun to watch, man. Another fun team to watch. I can't think of who they remind me of. I feel like they remind me of a team I just can't think of right now, but they have just a lot of energy. And I don't know what they're trying to prove because, if they keep playing good, Danny Ainge is going to trade everybody on the team.
It's interesting. It goes to the point we were talking about how the league is getting much more balanced.
It is. Yeah.
And we're seeing the early season results of that.
Yeah, and you think as a team, if you say, all right, well, I'm going to give you a team, but I'm not going to give you any all-stars. You can't have a single all-star on the team. This is the kind of team you would want. Okay, well, give me everybody that isn't every 6 man you could give me, because all these guys would be good 6 men. Everyone on this team would be a good 6 man. And let me just go out there and compete. And they compete. Play hard. Yeah, good start for them. I think they're 3-1 as well right now. I think. Yeah, 3-1 team. All right, give me another positive.
I like what I'm seeing from Denver, to be honest.
Denver looks pretty good, man. Yeah, Denver looks pretty good. Tell me more. How do you feel?
KCP balances out their starting lineup finally.
Yeah.
I feel like they've had like a weird non-fit at shooting guard for so long.
They have.
Porter Jr. is, I don't know how he keeps coming back from major injuries and is exactly the same.
You must be used to it by now.
Yeah, I mean, he's never rusty. He always comes out. He's hot every time. He shoots contested shots and makes them all the time.
Yeah.
I like his energy on the glass. He's working a lot harder rebounding the ball. He's trying to be a better defender.
Yeah.
And the core of this team has been together for a long time.
Yeah, Jokic and Murray.
Yeah, Jokic, Murray, Gordon has been there for several years now. And Bones Highland, they're easing into kind of more and more playing time. They're trusting him more and more.
Yeah.
This is another year they're going to be extremely competitive.
Yeah, they are.
Like, again, they're really close, as they have been for several years. But I thought with like injured guys coming back and trying to figure out a rotation, because looking around the league at some of the new rosters, rotation seems to be a problem.
Yeah.
With Denver, it's easy.
It is.
It's easy, and I like what I'm seeing, man. I think they're going to be right there in the playoffs, battling, having a tough series with somebody.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Bruce Brown was such a solid pickup. He's even better than I thought he was as a pickup. He's shooting better. I didn't think he was going to shoot as good as he's shooting so far this year. I knew his defense would be there. I knew he would cut. He, give you. Bruce Brown is good for giving you like one stat in every category every night. Like, he's going to get a block, he's going to get a steal, he's going to get a rebound, he's going to give you a big time assist, and he's going to score every night.
And I didn't even think of it, like, he used to get a lot of easy baskets just off KD and Kyrie. Jokic is like a night and day better passer than those guys, so he's probably going to get even more scoring opportunity now.
Yeah, and and Denver has guys who you may have to double. I think sometimes on the Nets it was because he had guys that, you have to double Kyrie off the screen.
Yeah.
He'll still probably split you guys, but you still have to be there ready to double. You have to double KD off the picks. But he has guys that are such good shooters that he gets a kick, he sends a kick out, and it's two guys running to Michael Porter Jr.'s, two guys running out to KCP, to Murray, to Jokic, and he has a way of, like, you're in a trap and you're trying to figure out who's open. Oh, it's Bruce Brown. There he is, right under the basket.
Yeah.
Every time. So he is a good way of getting into the open spots. And even DeAndre Jordan's playing well for them. I mean,
Jeff Green too.
Exactly what they want. Yeah, Jeff Green and Davon Reed is out there playing well for them too. Yeah. I mean, they found a way to get guys that I didn't think first game. I thought they would struggle with their depth going forward, but with Brown, Highland, and Reed coming in, I mean, playing really well, I have a lot more confidence in them than I did before. So I think they have a really, really good chance. And Jokic isn't trying to score so much, which is helping them a lot.
Yeah. You know what I think helps them a lot too is Bones being a lot further along than they thought. I think, like, now you have that luxury of Murray could do the Kawhi thing of the roster's so complete. I could take as long as I need to come back to even playing starter minutes.
Yeah.
So their depth looks good.
And also Bones, how he plays, kind of forces Jokic to rest, because him and Jokic really can't play together out there at the same time because he handles the ball so much. Bones does. And I think that was a chemistry problem with Jokic at times in the past. And I'm not sure if Malone is even addressing it on purpose, but it just so happened is working out that, okay, Bones comes in, he's a on-ball player. Like, he's not an off-ball player at all by any means. So, okay, let's sit Jokic down and let Bones cook with the other guys. And they move the ball well and everything. And Jokic is only averaging 20 so far in the season. I mean, he'd be at 40, almost 40 now, like, in the past. Trying in these kind of games that they're in, close games. They're getting a lot more balance to how they were when they were really, really good. I think when was Grant there? 4 years ago?
Bubble was his last. He left after the bubble.
The bubble year with Millsap, Grant, and the year before that, I think that they had found a really balanced scoring kind of offense that they had. But since then, it just went completely out the window. And it's just Jokic gets however many points he can get. And if he's doubled or if he's getting trapped, he finds guys, and then that's his assist. And that was it for the last 2 or 3 years. And now I'm seeing like it's Jokic is getting out of the offense. He's getting out of the way of Michael Porter Jr., out of Gordon's way a lot more than he has in the past. And he's not going crazy with his stats, which I think I'm not going to accuse him of stat chasing, but there was times where it's like, all right, you didn't have to pass that. You could have just laid that up, or he'll draw to get somebody that he'll get a mismatch. He could just score it, but he dishes it off to easy layup, right? And that's okay. But in the past, it was more egregious that he was looking for stats than it is so far, at least to me. Yeah. So I mean, even more guys are getting the rebounding responsibilities. Michael Porter Jr. and Gordon are both at over 6 rebounds, and that didn't even happen in the past. So
they look good.
It looked really, really, really good, really strong, nice, strong team. All right, let's talk about Boston. Why that? Why the?
I feel like I'm not surprised that they're starting off well. I'll say that. Tatum looks like he got a little bit better. That's a seemingly big difference.
Yeah.
He looks, honestly, that's the only meaningful difference that I've seen so far.
Tatum look better.
It's not even really better. He looks more comfortable picking his spots. It's not, forced a bunch of tough shots versus no shots at all. He's actually improved basic things like hitting spot ups.
Yeah, yes.
Like now, and I honestly, just off that, his shot selection looks way better.
It does.
Because now he's having more efficient games. Now he's coming off a couple makes when he's taking like the tough turnarounds or the contested pull-ups. He looks a little bit stronger, which he's shown essentially every year.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, Boston's roster, we knew what it was. We knew their additions would be good. We knew that their coaching difference would at most show in the playoffs. So I'm not really surprised by much with them.
No, me either. They look stacked, like we kind of figured they would look, and they're playing really, really good. I mean, they're going at teams, and it just seems like they have like a never-ending wealth of buckets on the team. Like they just don't run out of guys who can score. And some come out, and then more guys come in, and just someone else starts scoring a lot. It's still top heavy, of course, with Brown and Tatum, but those guys, they're definitely getting a lot more easy shots than we've seen in the past that they really struggled in last season, the whole season last season. But
their balance looks like it's gotten better and better.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I mean, like Brogdon surprised me just that first game with all the mid-range. He couldn't hit an open three, but anytime he got in the mid-range, it was a bucket.
Yep. And just the fact that he got into the mid-range was something that they needed, because they really didn't even have that on the team last season.
Right.
Derek White is really a drive all the way to the basket or nothing kind of guy. Smart is a get too far under the basket and make a bad pass kind of guy. But those guys, neither of them really have a stop. I can score here, where the defense has to react to them as soon as they get inside the 3-point line. Brogdon has that for sure, and he can make a play from it.
Oh, and another reason, even if they would struggle offensively, you know what they showed first game? That they're probably the best defense in the league.
Yes.
Like that's what shocked me that opening night. Like their defense hasn't dropped off like a single bit.
It hasn't.
Which is just elite, honestly.
It's really elite because their best defensive player isn't even back yet. So, I mean,
well, Smart is there, but just the way they switch on the perimeter, to me, like that's what a lot of teams want to do, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the full roster of defenders like Boston does.
Right. And I'm talking about Robert Williams as being like their best team defender.
Yeah,
Smart's the best. Smart obviously is the best individual defender, but to have a team defense and you don't have your main shot blocker, I mean,
yeah,
Robert Williams was the defensive player of the year candidate last year too. He just didn't play enough games.
I know. And
So
Tatum and Brown, like as their responsibilities have gotten more selective, you see them improving defensively again every year.
yeah, you do. Yeah. 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 And their shot distribution is great. I mean, even guys that you wouldn't even think would be getting shots, like Vonleh is getting looks, Hauser is getting looks when they're out there. Obviously, when Robert Williams comes back, they probably don't get as many minutes. They get more
Yeah.
creative with the roster.
I
But
also don't think Grant. There's no way Grant Williams stays this hot.
yeah, no, I doubt it.
He's been like scorching high. He's shooting like 50,
Yes.
60% or something.
Yeah, he's been playing really, really good, and he gives them such a spark off the bench, man. For someone who really isn't like a, really isn't that great of a player. He's good, but I mean, to give him that much of a spark is impressive.
I will say Boston, when Big Baby and like Leon Poe was there, they kind of had that same thing where those guys weren't really good, but just the way they would run, the way they would like make a hustle play right when you needed it.
Yeah.
Grant Williams is exactly that. Like he'll get a stop when you're taking all the momentum. He'll hit a tough shot like when you're kind of struggling to make shots.
Yeah.
Boston looks good.
Yeah. He's like 250 and he'll get a random charge. He'll get like the most important charge call of the game. And no one in the league should be able to knock him over.
And from the last playoff run to now, like he's finally looking like, okay, I understand why you're putting him on all the elite players as like the go-to get a stop guy.
Yeah.
Where before I used to clown them for that. Like, why would you keep doing this?
Right.
But that experience is paying off.
Yeah, it is big time. Big time. All right. Let's see who else. Let's talk about the Wizards, man.
Yes.
Can't believe you waited this long.
No, I mean, I don't want to, get too crazy 4 games into the season. But our depth looks so good, dude. That's what I've been disappointed with the most the last couple years is like having seemingly solid players and then the bench comes in and gets destroyed. Or like two guys are out of the lineup, so now the rotation's fucked entirely. Finally, the depth is there. There's guys who've been in the league for an extended period of time. There's good balance with young players. The leadership looks good. The coaching looks good. Like, this is why I didn't want to talk about them because I can't really be too objective.
I'll tell you my favorite part. Rui is being aggressive and he is playing like someone who should be on this team. And last season, even though he didn't play much of last season, I don't think.
Yeah, first half he was out.
Right. When he came back, he was really stiff. I didn't know what position he played, but I wanted to. There's a lot of guys who are positionless, but he was positionless, and I felt like he needed to be in a position so he could do something. But this year, I don't care what position he's in because he's out there doing something all the time. He's getting a really good block. He's being aggressive on offense. He's recognizing mismatches where he'll catch it mid post, and if you're a guard, Rui's going at you. And last season he wouldn't do that.
Right.
He'd get it and like he just hold the ball over his head and look around. Oh, nobody's open. Okay, maybe I should back this guy down. No, just the rip through and go into the basket is his thing now, and it looks great. He's getting a lot of rebounds too. Porzingis, you found a way to involve Porzingis.
He's healthy so far.
And he's involved with the rest of the team. And it's not like it's Porzingis and the team, or the team and Porzingis is out there. Now it's the Wizards are out there, and
I'll
Porzingis
tell you
is
the
on the
biggest thing for
Wizards.
Porzingis is he looks like a great fit with Beal.
He does, and
Uh,
that's really all
Beal
he needed to be.
Beal has done a great job of like also picking his spots when to kind of take command of the offense. And you see the desire of like every time there's a run to make or recover from, Beal wants to run like a two-man play with him.
Yeah.
And that's that building that confidence already is I kind of was surprised Dallas didn't do more of this, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it looks great with Beal so far.
Dallas doesn't have anyone who moves without the ball as well as Beal,
Yeah.
which is one thing because they run that like I don't know what the action is called in basketball terms, but is when Porzingis is at the top of the key, they throw it to him, and basically they like do like a weave around him. Like
Yeah.
someone goes in front of him, someone goes behind him, and like they go back and forth and just using him as a um as a screen while he's holding the ball because he's 7'4", no one can reach the ball.
Right.
Like
Their
so
spacing looks really good off of just that.
it does. It looks great. And then Beal he either goes to the basket or he has a chance to get a jumper, and it works. He works in that action. And it does look great. And they do it with Kuzma too. It's like Kuzma and Beal come and just alternate off of
Yeah.
Porzingis just being a big body. Yeah, they look great, man.
I mean,
They look great.
Monty has kind of played better than I thought he would.
Mm-hmm.
DeLon Wright has played much better than I thought he would.
Delon
Will
Wright's playing
Barton
great.
has fit right in. He looks great. I
Yep.
mean, you
Yep.
got Gafford coming off the bench, like using. There's a lot of guys around the league who are using their fouls not wisely. And
Right.
Gafford
Yeah.
is like, he's coming out there to throw them out essentially.
Yeah.
And it's given us like a different element because him and Porzingis are so different.
Yeah.
But the rim protection is almost sustained just because of the size.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the rotation looks great.
It looks like you guys find Gaffer every time somebody scores on him.
Yeah.
Like if you say, look, if someone gets a layup on you, we're taking 10 grand. And so he goes out there and goes for every block.
Yeah.
He hacks. He's
Everything.
not letting anyone score on him at all. I like that
Yeah.
about him though. Yeah. They're fun, man. They're a fun team to watch. I hope they make it to the playoffs so we could see more of them. See them against a really good team.
They're another like Portland team where like I think they're capable of proving that they're this good, but I
Mm-hmm.
would like for the basketball world, because I'll be watching them almost every night, but other people won't get a chance to see them as often.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Wizards historically don't get too many primetime games, even when they're good.
True. We have to talk about Memphis. Memphis is coming out pretty hot. Um, I mean 3-1, but hot as in how they're playing. Bane and Morant playing fantastic. Morant looks like, the most electrifying player in the league. No surprise. He's leading the league in scoring. No surprise. And Jaren Jackson is not fully healthy.
It's wow, surprise. I'm shocked.
Right. No surprise there either. Their depth may not be quite as good as it was in the past with Melton out there. I mean, with Melton not out there for them. They look solid, man. They're getting a lot of TV time, which is cool. How do you feel about them so far?
I actually am not as sold on them as
No?
they kind of seem, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really I thought, I mean, granted, the only game I fully watched was the one loss where they got cooked by Dallas.
Yeah.
And
They got cooked.
I will say Morant looks better.
Mm-hmm.
Morant looks a lot more in control of the offense rather than trying to get a highlight.
Yeah.
He looks like he's playing to his strengths again, more than just being reckless.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gambling. Also, he's kind of, again, he's just under control more, which I think helps them a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I mean, yeah, Bane went off, but it was against by far the worst defense in the league. And we'll get to that. We will get to that.
Yeah.
But again, he went off. I was told he was wide open all the time.
He was.
Last I checked, all he proved last year was that he's one of the best shooters in the league.
If he's open.
And you left him wide open. Okay, I don't get that.
Yeah.
The strategy doesn't really make sense. But credit to him. I saw him doing stuff like this last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
He hit a lot of shots. Like he'll do that. He'll do that again. I do think their depth looks a little bit worse.
Yeah.
And I just think a lot of their lesser role players their roles are so specific. Like they get caught out there with Morant just carrying everything they do. Similar to kind of the criticism you have with Jokic, it almost looks like he's stat chasing.
Yeah, and I started out with positive, and all I said was that they came out hot, and they have. But my problem with Morant is Morant takes a lot of shots, and not the shots that are like empty stat shots, not the shots that will show up in the field goals. Morant attacks a lot, and he doesn't have to attack that much. He gets fouled a lot, so you won't see how many shots he really takes in the stats because he gets fouled on a lot.
He's earning like 10 free throws a night minimum.
And a lot of times because he drives so hard, the foul is at the 3-point line, and he's at the he's shooting a layup, but it was on the ground foul because he took off from the free throw line, basically. So he does a lot, and sometimes when you're watching Memphis, it just feels like you're just watching Ja play, like and I get the Iverson comparison with how electrifying they are in the highlights, but people who watch a full game of Memphis, and the highlights always look great for Ja, but when you watch a full game, you get the comparison even more because this dude is out there being a one-man team for most of the game.
Yes.
Most of the game.
The only real problem is just that they look predictable.
They do. And this is what I said in the preview. I think that really good teams they're gonna be ready for the paint touch kick out that Ja plays. And I mean, you can't win a championship only being a paint touch kick out team.
Yeah.
Harden tried it, and he tried it
a lot of years. Yeah.
And it didn't work. Yeah. Other teams have tried it and just does not. The Clippers tried it. It didn't work. Let's get to the paint. It's either a lob or a three. It's not going to work for, 16 games in the playoffs.
No.
So I do think that's something that's going to have to change. I think they're going to have to have an emerging, more ball dominant, like second player for them. Because it can't just be Ja having one of the highest usage rates, a top 5 usage rate in the league. It's not going to work for this.
And the crazy thing is, I think they're going to win a lot of games regardless. Like there's a very good chance they're a top 4 seed just off the fact that they're playing 41 home games. Like they'll probably be like 30-11 in those. So I can't believe I'm even thinking this, to be honest, but I think Dillon Brooks needs to get back healthy and more aggressive for them.
I agree. They played better when he was a full-time Robin, like a real Robin.
Yeah, and he was a mess of a Robin, but he still was a Robin.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't like any of their guys forcing anything. And that's, to me, again, like if you tunnel Ja and take the ball out of his hands, I mean, Bane looked horrible against Dallas. Horrible. I'm like, dude, I hate that he's even dribbling.
Right.
So I need to see some kind of dynamic where they could play without Ja being the MVP.
Yeah, and one more thing about Ja, and this is not a negative to him, but it's kind of just the tough thing about having a point guard that drives a lot. When growing up as a point guard, you're always taught if someone shoots, you're the person who gets back. You have to get back on defense. You pass it, you're at the top of the key, you get back. When Ja is laying on the ground under the basket,
mismatches all over.
they're playing 5-on-4 on the other end, or the fast break is an easy one, a quick one, because your fastest guy on your roster is laying on the floor under the basket,
And you know
or
who
it's
dominates
just
that
so
more
far
than
under the
anyone?
basket.
Who
Who?
dominates that more than anyone? The Golden State Warriors.
Oh yeah, it's a three.
Like you're done. You're done. You might
Yeah,
as well jog back because the three's already going up by the time you're at half court.
yeah, and and the Mavericks use it pretty well too, because Luka is usually the guy getting the rebound, and
Right.
he just makes one pass and it's a layup or it's a three or it's just an easy bucket. And
Yeah.
you give up a lot of easy buckets because this team is not really a fast team. There's no one else on this team you would consider as even a top 20 fastest in their position, not even close. So it's a situation where you have your guy who takes a lot of shots in the paint. That means he's the furthest away from the other basket to give up your most athletic guy. And he doesn't get the blocks when he's the guy laying it up. All the blocks come from his turnovers most of the time.
Yeah.
So
I think they're gonna have a tougher
small
time
things.
if they keep playing like this. Again, they're still gonna be a lot of win team, but
Yeah.
like whoever they play in the first round, it'll be a much tougher challenge for them.
It will. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Because they obviously can still outscore people, and Ja is still, don't get me wrong, everything negative I'm saying about Ja is
There's
not.
a good chance he'll be the MVP. So
Yeah, I'm
like
not taking anything away. I've picked him as my MVP
right.
favorite for this year. So I'm not saying that he's not good or that he's not going to be a good player. He's not going to still dominate the league. But it's you can dominate the league and have small things that keep you away from being a championship level team.
Yeah,
Westbrook's done it. Harden's done it.
of
Jokic
course.
has done it.
CP.
So CP has done it. Yeah, I mean, guys who have been the best player in the league, but just maybe that's not what it takes to win for your team. That's it.
Yeah.
But to your point, they're going to win a lot of games this season because they
Their
are going to
defense is really
outscore a
good
lot of
too.
team.
And their
It
defense,
is.
I've seen it be really, really high level.
I don't know if there's a team other than the Warriors, obviously, that can go on runs that are as explosive as Memphis can,
Yeah.
because they'll go with Bane hitting 4 threes in a quarter. Brooks hits 2 threes. Jaren Jackson may hit a 3, and Ja has 2 like 360s,
And it's
like a
kind of
360 and an alley oop in the same
yeah,
quarter,
dude.
and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like it feels
And
like he just played a whole game.
Bane is one of those, like, he's actually similar to Clay, where every time the game is messy, he finds shots.
Yeah, he
And
does.
I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, like there has, I know we talked about this in practice, like, yo, we can't lose Bane. He's a specialist. Like, we can't give up hella shots to this guy. And every
yeah,
time they play in transition, they find Bane, or Bane runs off some split screen and he's wide open.
yep, yep.
So their coach, I think their coach is actually really good.
I do too. I think he's getting the most out of this roster.
Yeah.
I look around at these guys and I don't think there's one player on this team that could be playing better. I think that they're all playing to their peak. Other
Yeah.
than I think Brooks, there's health issues why they're not playing well. But when they're all healthy, I think they play to the absolute best of their ability, the whole team.
Yeah.
And that's more than I could say for most teams in the
Other
league.
than Bane, they could shoot a little better too. I think Conchar hasn't really been hitting shots.
Yeah, but
Some of the other guys have been a little cooler than last year, which again is not as like
yeah.
that'll be hot and cold all year.
But were they hot last year, or were they just shooting as good as they could shoot? You know what I mean? Like, were they shooting better than their ability last year, or are now they're shooting bad? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I think it's 50-50. Like
Yeah, they
we'll
might just
see good and bad
maybe
stretches for them.
Conchar just can't shoot, and last year he just was shooting well. Like
I
who
like
knows?
I like the way he shoots, so I think he's all right.
No, I like him too. I like him too. I like their bench in general.
They have a good culture too.
This season.
Another they have so many reasons why they should be successful that it's like impossible not to like them, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree. Shout out to Santi Aldama for them, who has looked fantastic for them, just completely random. I He's from Spain, but he's come in for them this year. It was like having like these Gallinari moments for them, like random huge jumper, like 2 or 3 mismatches, ISOs in a row. Like, yeah, he's played really well for them. I'm not sure if they found the spot for him yet, but when they do, I'm excited to see what he does for them too. Is it negative time?
Oh, I mean, there's no need to deep dive, but the Warriors, no doubt, are the best team in basketball. I think it's
win or lose, they're the best team in basketball.
I thought they would I thought maybe the Poole Draymond thing would make them a little sluggish. Maybe the ring ceremony would have them relaxed.
They both look better.
But Poole looks better. Draymond looks better. Wiggins, who I thought peaked in the finals, looks better. Steph, like Clay looks kind of like he's still struggling to get back, but that's a great problem to have because he's still liable to get 20 and a quarter.
Yeah, I mean, you still can't leave him. He's no less of a threat than he was.
Never. Yeah, that's why they're so like unstoppable. Their young guys look great too. So, they're good luck to the West, man. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I will say Wiggins isn't shooting quite as good as he did last season.
That's okay.
It picked up a little bit later in last season anyway. So come Christmas, hopefully he's shooting better.
He's another guy like Grant to me that like his athleticism should show all the time.
And
it finally is.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Especially defensively, which is just great.
Yeah. I think that they're going to have to find some consistency off their bench. I said before the season started, the bench was my only worry, and
it's fine. Jordan Poole's still coming off of it, so we're good.
Poole still looks great, but everyone other than Poole is completely inconsistent. So I think they're going to have to find something because last year you knew what you were getting out of Gary Payton second. You knew what you were getting out of Otto Porter most of the time. You either knew what you were getting or you might be surprised with him playing better. But now I'm more surprised with the guys not playing good that come off the bench. But again, it's early for them, and they're a team that always gets better as the season goes along.
But you know what's great? Like the way they move the ball, Wiseman hasn't even played well, and he looks like a flawless fit.
Yeah. Yeah. The guys still look like they fit well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think DiVincenzo's a guy who's going to play much better as the season goes on.
Yeah, because he's out. He was out last night with the injury, so he's still coming back too.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Kuminga's going to get in his role. He's going to get some highlights and start feeling himself a little more. I think JaMychal Green hits more shots in the playoffs than he does in the regular season anyway. They'll pick it up. Looney's a playoff guy too. He plays better in the big moments.
Looney's still KG said it, and I seen the clip on social media that he's just a hustle machine. Like he'll dive 7 times, he'll fall on the floor 8 times, and be right there setting a screen for Steph next play.
Yep. Sure will. Any other positives? Let's get all the positives out of the way.
I mean, not really. I don't really see it being sustained, but the Spurs are playing very hard.
Yeah, they're playing hard. Yep.
Devin Vassell looks like a guy to keep an eye on. Very streaky shooter, very explosive.
Yeah. Yep. Pelicans look really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And they're not even, again, another team not even close to healthy. They got guys getting hurt already. And that happens. I mean, it happens with this team for sure, but I'm not surprised by that. But man, they're clicking on all cylinders, man. Everybody looks good. And I don't know how Willie Green finds a way to put these guys out there and look flawless every night. I never see anyone out there looking like they're playing bad.
I'm convinced Alvarado would be horrible on like 28 of the 30 teams.
He's great for them.
And he's just great. Just great.
He really isn't even a point guard, and they have him playing like backup point guard, and it works.
I know.
It works. Dyson Daniels, the draft pick, I mean, he's smooth for them. He cuts so well. He gets out in the In open court, he's long. Najee Marshall, who I really didn't think would be good, comes out there, plays hard, and just hits big shots. Um, I can't go down the whole list, but they just look good, man. Trey Murphy looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I
Herb
I
Jones looked
really
good
didn't think
too.
he was going to be great. Yeah, Herb Jones looks great. Yeah, they missed 3 starters and still got an easy dub last night. I mean, easy. I mean, it got close at the end, but it was an easy dub. Yeah, so no surprise though, because we had them on the rise in our preview, so
Yeah, and I think
we already know what time it
McCollum
is.
having CJ, who's been like a high level scorer for so many years, just
Mhm.
kind of steadies, like again with roster issues, when health, guys in and out of the lineup. Having a guy like CJ is huge.
CJ has been the best player on low talent teams. I'm not calling them low talent. I'm just saying their talent isn't as high as some of the other teams. They don't have a bunch of all stars.
Yeah,
So especially when their 3 best players, 3 of their starters are out, 3 out of their top 5 best players are out. CJ has been the guy on a team with low talent his whole life. Since college, he was the man on his team. So he knows what it takes to be what you're talking about, that leader, that um vocal leader, the if I get scoring, everyone's gonna get on with me kind of player. He knows what he's doing. And especially being the vet on a young team. I mean, he looks great, man. He looks great. I'm really impressed with how he's been for them.
yeah.
Because I honestly did not think it was gonna work with him at the point. I didn't think it was gonna work having him as one of your go-to scorers, but works good, man. Willie Green, Coach of the Year, is coming. It's coming. See what else. Clippers. Do you have positive or negative for the Clippers?
They're doing exactly what I didn't want them to do, so not really.
Was that
I don't want to watch a full season of like roster science.
yeah.
And then we get to the playoffs. Oh, this lineup has played so many. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm promise you I'll come on here and rant if ESPN tries to pull some nonsense like that again. Like PG is great enough. Kawhi, however fucking many minutes he's playing, is great enough. There shouldn't be
Yeah.
any concerns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, their depth is one of the best in the league. No surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
Wall looks good. No real crazy surprise there.
Yeah.
I
I don't know
mean,
why people are surprised by that.
they
He
have
only didn't
easily
play
the
last year
best
because
wing depth in the league.
they do, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, Wall was good last year.
Yeah, he just didn't play because the Rockets didn't want him to, not because
I
he
know.
couldn't.
I
He
know.
came out of the gates eating.
They're acting like he's like Ben Simmons, like recovering all year. Like, nah, he's been back.
Yeah, he was just chilling, just
I know.
waiting for his contract to be up. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm with you. I think that they're not loving some of the shots they're taking to start out, but I get it. They are experimenting. This whole like Marcus Morris is like our third, like they're using him as he's like their third mismatch guy in the lineup.
They've
I
been
don't
doing
really
that for
like that.
years.
But now
For
that
better or worse.
but now they have everybody, and now they have an actual point guard on the team, so it looks worse now. Because when Morris did it before, Morris was like the ball mover.
Yeah.
Um, like he had to make plays for them before. Now he doesn't have to make plays; he just has to score and play defense. But now they still give it to him in ISOs, which is just kind of strange. But
See, I guess to make a bigger picture point real quick about them, I
mhm,
look at Dallas, who, I don't really think is playing that great, but they're not playing bad.
mhm,
I know when they get to the playoffs, Finney Smith knows exactly what he's going to do every night.
mhm.
I hate looking at Norman Powell and seeing that he has no fucking clue how he's going to contribute on that day.
Yeah.
Batum, same thing. Covington, same thing. Like that's exactly what I didn't want. That's what's
Mhm.
going to make their roster look horrible, even though it's much better than whoever they're playing.
This is Lou's biggest flaw, by the way, because he does this on every team that I've noticed.
So
even the Cavs.
I hate that they have the best wing rotation in the league, and we'll probably see it for like a month or two, knowing how they manage minutes and how their top two guys, stay healthy.
Yeah. And for those who do think that Wall was out, he's the only one that's not load managing. Like if he was out because he couldn't play,
he'd be out there for 10 minutes a night.
Yeah, he's out there. He wishes he could play the whole night. Like if he could, he would be playing the whole night. But yeah, man, they're definitely top 3 depth in the league. But if you don't use it, it doesn't matter. Or if the guys come in and don't do what they're supposed to do or contribute how you want them to, it doesn't matter. But I'm excited for him. I'm still excited. I will say the game that I did see Kawhi play in, as Kawhi played, he's played 2 games, right? 2 out of the 4.
Yeah.
The game I did see, I get they were trying to get him back into the mix, but I hope that he can find a way to still get others involved, as in like he doesn't have to be the ball dominant solo possession guy anymore. Definitely not anymore, because now they have guards. Because really, he's really only barely played with Reggie Jackson. Like right? Not even a full season with Reggie, right?
When he was playing with Reggie was washed. Nobody cared about Reggie.
I mean, they got Reggie the season that Kawhi got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he hasn't even played a full season with him. So he really hasn't played with a guard on the team. So he doesn't have to do that. And he started out doing it right away and it didn't look good at all. But by the end of the game, I think he started really moving the ball more and being the off-ball player that when he's the off-ball guy, he's basically unstoppable.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. I hope it works. I hope they don't just go to it because they're in adversity. I hope in adversity they don't just go, all right, Kawhi, take over, because that's not his game. And he has never really been a winner like that. So
to your point, now that I'm thinking about it, like when Kawhi played, Kennard was significantly worse than what he is now.
Yeah.
Zubac was significantly worse than what he is now.
Yeah.
So that adjustment, like I hate it, should I don't mind it taking a month or like maybe even 2 months. But when you're coming off the bench one night, you're not playing the next 2 nights.
Exactly.
Then you're playing, all of a sudden you're in 38-minute land, which you only last 2 weeks doing that.
Yeah.
The stability won't be there, and you'll get to the playoffs and you'll lose to the teams that play the same lineups all year, that have the same play style all year, like Dallas, like Phoenix, like Denver, any of those teams who are like significantly more consistent at what they do.
Yeah, and Kawhi would be out there trying to take 30 shots, and he doesn't have to.
Right.
At all.
Meanwhile, Jokic is taking 30 shots, and the Nuggets have played like it all year, so they're ready for it.
Exactly. And that's the biggest issue, because then your depth really be wasted, because
useless. Yep.
Yeah, because you're playing Kawhi ball, and that's just not what you need now. That's all. Yeah. And even Man wasn't the kind of player he is now. Yeah. He's definitely improved too. He had 40 points, 40-point games while Kawhi was gone.
I'm at the point, I don't even know what I want from Paul George, because I really don't want him playing like an MVP either. Like I want to see this
play better when he does, though, than when he doesn't.
Well, then better than Kawhi, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
To me, I just want to see this roster's potential. This shouldn't be like Milwaukee, where it's Giannis just dominating. Like it really shouldn't be like that. They're too good at moving the ball,
and they're not going to win games. Like Giannis can win games like that, but I don't think Kawhi can win games like that.
They can't win like games like Jason Tatum can, or any Jimmy Butler, for example.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Excited to see what they do. I hope that they get more TV games. I think they will, but
I hope Kawhi plays in their fucking TV games.
probably not. Don't bet on it.
I'm not. I'm hoping. That's it.
Yeah. I and I was wrong. I haven't seen Atlanta play yet, but I've seen the highlights, seen the recaps and stuff, and they look good. They sound good.
I'm ready. Yeah, we'll give Atlanta some time because I also haven't seen them on a primetime game yet.
Yeah. Cleveland, I have seen 2 of their games, and Donovan Mitchell looks dominant, and I think that he's better than they thought he would be.
Yeah.
I think that they thought, oh, he was on the Jazz, they played a certain kind of game. And when I say they, I mean the media or people who were kind of interested or intrigued by the trade. He's eating, man. I mean, he's automatic. He's someone that is the best player on a team, and he's showing that whatever team I go to, I can be the best player on the team. I can be the best guard on the team. I can be the ball distributor, leading the team in assists. Whatever you need, Donovan can do, and that's why, to me, he's the best combo guard in the league, and doesn't get enough credit for it. But Garland, I mean, I think Garland poked his eye out, got his eye poked out in the first game.
Yeah.
So
it makes me more curious to see how he fits.
Yeah, because we haven't even seen them at full strength. And Donovan's been playing point guard, and they've been winning. They haven't lost since he started at point guard. They're 3-0 since Garland went out.
Yeah, I will say Mobley doesn't look like better so far, and it's early.
He's not aggressive. He's doing the thing that Rui did last year.
He's just out there, like, looks like he doesn't even want to be out there almost.
Right.
But their depth looks good, man. And their depth is not like, maybe not skill wise they're good, but they're all just competitors.
They're competitors, and they got a competitor leading them. I think Donovan being out there with some of those guys makes them a lot better.
Yeah.
Because he's such a good scorer, he finds people, wide open for really good shots.
I know.
And Rubio's not even back, another point guard that can find anybody that they're gonna have soon. Hopefully soon. Not even sure about that. Hopefully soon. LeVert and Donovan look better together than I thought they would. I thought that was gonna be an issue, but it looks great. But yeah, like you said, Evan Mobley just has to be more aggressive. He has to be.
Yeah, man.
If this team wants to reach their potential, he has to be.
I feel like I don't want to freak out when Jarrett Allen gets in foul trouble in game 2. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And right now, like, I like Robin Lopez, but if Jarrett Allen was hacking, Robin's coming in and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So
if Jarrett Allen can't guard somebody, Robin definitely can't.
Right. So that's where I'm hoping Mobley gives him a little bit more front court versatility. I don't need him to be their definitive third option. I think Donovan is so good, you don't really need that.
No, you don't.
But he's got to be consistent in some way.
Yeah, and another person, Love comes in for him and brings in a completely different style of game that you want to be able to have the different style of game. Because right now it's like we have nothing there, and then Love comes in, we have to play like, with Love being 4 out, 1 in most of the time.
In Love, because he's played so well, they're like they nervously almost leave him out there too long sometimes.
Yeah, they're like, all right, well, Mobley wasn't doing anything, so
right, and that's why I'm like, I get it, because Mobley's, like you said, not doing anything, and he's got to step up.
Yeah, he has to. We don't want Kevin out there for 30 minutes a night, not at his age and not for what he does, because he really can't guard anybody.
Nah, he tries.
And Mobley,
to his credit, he tries.
Right, he does try. And Mobley has to get a post touch, has to get some post buckets here and there. It has to be at least a lob threat, because I don't even see him like on the rolls. He just like disappears.
He just stands in the short corner. He's not really in a rebounding position. Right. Can't cut anywhere. I'm gonna give him a slight pass because it's just so early, but it is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and he hasn't played with someone who can take as many shots as Donovan has either. So I think when you play with someone like that, it is a little bit jarring. Like, okay, whoa, he could score from anywhere on the court. Where should I be? I need to get out of his way because he may dunk on the whole team. Like, what, I can understand that piece of it because it probably is interesting to play with someone like that and not knowing where you're supposed to be. But
Yeah.
he got to work that out with coach. I mean, because as a player, if you when you played a game, you didn't do anything, and
Yeah.
you want to say, yo, coach, how can I get more involved? I didn't really get enough shots. Let's look at the film. Where should I be on that? Let's work with Donovan. So obviously that happens throughout the season, and when Garland comes back, it's going to be probably even more spacing. So it's a lot to work on, but they look really, really good, man. Donovan is another guy you play with, you never feel like you're out of the game. I never know. You have a lot of confidence in a scorer like him because you can beat anybody with him out there.
Yeah.
So, they're exciting though. I really, really, really like that team. Um, last positives. I guess I don't have any more
I'm out
positives.
of definitive positives.
Yeah. I
Luka
like
looks
how
good. Luka looks good. Shout out to Dallas.
Luka looks good. Christian Wood looks good. Looks
Yeah.
great. Looks great. He has to keep it for a whole game, but he does look great. Chicago looks really good. Well, we knew they'd look good. Another team, the depth is working. I mean it, and we did have questions about it, but it's looking really good against some really good teams too.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it, man. Brooklyn. Let's go, Brooklyn.
Oh man, I did not think we were gonna start there.
Let's go, Brooklyn, man.
Oh, where to begin with Brooklyn, man? Whew.
I'll start.
Okay, hit me.
Unless you got something.
No, I'd like to think about it for a second. Go ahead.
I watched 2 of Brooklyn's games, and I got to say they have the worst team defense I've seen in a really long time in basketball. And I've seen worse teams with worse defenders, but the amount of guys that get wide open cuts that cut in front of guys. I mean, I wasn't even someone that guarded those kind of positions that would cut. And I was even taught not to let anyone cut in front of your face.
That's like first week of practice stuff.
Yes, and people are cutting right in front of everybody.
Dude, so, I'm shocked at the fact that they're so clear cut the worst. That's what surprises me. Like, I knew they'd be bad. Everybody knew they'd be bad. They've been bad.
Yeah.
But like historically awful.
For me, they are.
Absolutely.
I haven't watched all basketball, but from the basketball I've seen, I have not seen a team play this bad of team defense against.
Is KD gonna check anything like a single cut? Is he gonna box out once? Is he
just
gonna
watches the ball?
He just stands there, bro. He's got to be one of the worst like individual defensive players in the league right now.
Yeah, I'd like to see the advanced stats on that. I don't know how to find them, but I'm sure someone will pull it up and say KD's advanced statistics on defense. He's
like, bro,
whatever. Yeah.
Can you not can you like kind of shuffle your feet around or something? He just literally stands there. I'm like, yo, Nash, like we don't say anything about this at all ever.
Guys go into the paint and he never gets in front of them. Like people just drive right through the lane and Durant just watches them go by.
Bro, I thought we talked about every time we mentioned them over the summer, and we kind of praised some of their acquisitions.
Yeah.
Bro, I thought again, I think a lot of people thought their front court would be a problem.
Yeah.
It's non-existent.
Right.
They don't even have a front court, bro. They don't just get out rebounded by 30. They get outscored in second chance points by 30.
They're one of the only teams that start their 3 tallest players
and get cooked on the glass.
Yeah. I mean, No, I'm saying this as like for a depth, as far as depth goes. I don't think there's any other team. I haven't looked this up. There's no other team that starts their 3 tallest players on the whole roster are starting, and 2 of them are guards. Ben Simmons and Durant are the second and third tallest players on the team.
And they couldn't play any smaller as a team.
Right. Right.
Like honestly, again, like Nash being one of the worst coaches in the league doesn't surprise me at all. Who's shocked by that? He's coaching the 2 worst leaders in basketball. Like, what does anybody expect? Like, Nash has been publicly thrown under the bus so many times. Do you really think he goes into like timeout huddles, speaks like 2 sentences, and Kyrie hears any of it?
No, he doesn't. No,
not at all. KD's blatantly not hearing anything because he's just out there doing the same shit. No energy, no like he's still getting off, but yeah, he's not gonna look that horrible. He's another guy. I never thought I could watch a guy who's only scoring look like he's stat chasing. He looks like he's getting his numbers just because I'm still one of the best players. Like I still want to prove that all this nonsense I threw over the summer I'm entitled to do that.
Yeah.
Bro, he looks atrocious to me. I know, he's still getting points, but he's not even trying to play hard.
Yeah, and I tweeted this the other day. KD just be playing king of the court mid-game. Like, you just, all right, who's checking me one-on-one this possession? Oh, cool. I'm going to score. He scores. They go down. He just watches someone else's man blow right past him and scores. All right, just hand me the ball back. I'm going to go play one-on-one again. And it's just everyone watching him play one-on-one, basically.
Bro, they're so awful.
Kyrie's played well on offense. I was going to say Kyrie has played pretty well on offense, but it's like it's just an empty stat because he can get 30.
Who hasn't played well offensively? Like every good player in the league has played well offensively at this point. Well, most.
Mm-hmm.
But like honestly, no defense at all.
Oh man,
dude, I hated. I thought Royce O'Neal was trash on Utah. I was very vocal about that. I was very eager for them to get him out of the lineup all the time.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing he never did in Utah, he never played soft or played like he always played hard.
Mm-hmm. He did.
I'm looking at him in Brooklyn. It's jogging. He's complaining to the refs. Hello? Royce O'Neal is complaining to the refs? Like, what is going on, Steve? Steve, like, you got to be doing something.
Yeah.
I mean, again, how can you coach when the 2 best players in the game don't listen to anything you say?
I really think Patty Mills is the only player on the roster that listens to what he says.
Shout out to Patty Mills, man. I hate that he re-signed. And
we get
to what was supposed to be one person we haven't discussed is what was supposed to be their biggest fucking X factor.
Joe Harris?
Stop.
Oh, I hope you're not talking about. I'm about to say, I hope you're not talking about Joe Harris because he's looked horrible too.
Sorry ass Simmons, dude. I never thought after what Russell Westbrook did last year and what he's currently doing, which again we'll get to that. I never thought another NBA player could be more embarrassing on the court.
Yeah.
And Ben has been worse.
He's averaging 5 fouls a game.
He's an unstoppable hack box. Where did that come from?
I have no idea. I never remember him being like that.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, in Philly, like that's every time I watched him guard, I'm like, wow, man, he does a great job. Like he's physical without doing like hack, like he's not hacking.
Right.
He's just being like a appropriately physical player trying to play good defense, which is rare in the fucking league, by the way.
Yeah.
Now we're reaching on everything. We're reaching on everything. And Ben, okay, you don't want to shoot the ball. We get it. I mean, I thought that's what you were working on it. Like, why are you even in the gym working on it, bro? For what?
43% from the free throw line.
He still can't hit a free throw. And now layup. We're allergic to layups.
Yeah.
We're dumping down wide open layups for Claxton. Who cares about Claxton getting layups, dude?
Who also can't shoot free throws. They may have the 2 worst free throw shooters in the league on the same team starting.
Ben, it's just like it's a joke at this point. You took a fucking year off and spent no time in the lab whatsoever. Like, forget shooting the ball. Like, we're beyond that. We understand you don't want to do it. You're too scared. It's too stressful. We get it. Ben, you didn't get better at any of the things you were supposed to be good at.
No, really anything.
That's what's demoralizing to me.
Supposed to be good at. Yeah.
He looks like all the jokes and the clowning that everybody talked about him. He's like proving it. Like, he just spent a year chilling.
Yeah.
It's honestly embarrassing. Like, you're blatantly hacking, and then you get in the post game and you crying about the ref.
Yeah. Over 1 foul. You've had 5 fouls before that. Yeah, what about the other 5? You're not supposed to have 5 fouls in the third quarter anyway. Like,
dude, how can you have more fouls than shot attempts? That is sick.
Yeah.
That is honestly, I've never, like, again, Russ could go 0 for the rest of the year, and it wouldn't be as embarrassing as that.
Right. I agree.
The Nets are, I don't know how they figure this out. Do I think they'll win some games? Sure. But for what? Yeah,
they still have a bunch of, elite scorers on the team.
At least last year when we got to the play-in, the Nets looked like the clear-cut best team in the play-in. There's no shot. There's no shot they're in the play-in this year, and they're even like a better team than whoever they're matched up against.
Yeah. And I mean, even the Nets Boston series looked like it was going to be exciting. Like, it was, we didn't know who was going to win. I mean, we thought Boston would win, but we were like, oh, well, Brooklyn easily could win this. And
I can make now this case, I would never say Brooklyn being so horrible, allowed Boston to peak. So now Boston's like a premier. Now look at them. They're like unstoppable other than Golden State.
Right.
So, man, Brooklyn is an absolute shit show. Nash is going to be gone sooner rather than later because the way they're defending, they're not going to win games.
Who do they get? You think they get D'Antoni or
I don't know. I think they'll have
Vogel,
a hot stretch though, whoever their new coach is, because Kyrie and KD will be eager to change the narrative.
And well, it won't be a change in the narrative. They'll just be eager to prove that it was all Nash's fault. Like, all this time was just Nash. So we get a new coach.
They look like they play like they want their coach blamed for why they suck.
They do play like that, yeah.
Like you said, everybody's just like watching cuts. Like, why are you even going over defense in practice?
Yeah, why even look at the scouting report if you're going to leave Bane wide open for the whole night?
He could have had more, honestly.
He could have. Yeah.
And he had 38, who's a fucking spot up specialist putting up 38 like he's an all-star starter.
Right. And Bane would probably never be an all-star, and they made him one that night. Made him one for the night. King for the day.
All NBA caliber.
Right.
Dude, Ben Simmons is the most egregious, though. Like, KD, I think, will pick up the energy after a certain amount of losses. Kyrie will have like these really scorching hot nights that'll get them wins. Like, Ben, if you're hacking, you're falling out of the next step is you're falling out of the rotation.
He won't with Nash because Nash is, Nash doesn't have it to do
Yeah,
that.
doesn't have a choice.
But the problem is they could win with Ben out there and him not doing anything, like him just being out there, they could win, but they can't win with, I don't want to disrespect any of the guys on the team, but some of the guys they bring in there for Ben and for Claxton, it's not gonna work. They can't win with those
No,
guys.
you can't, bro. You need a front, please. Front court. Like even Chicago last year with Vucevic was bad. It wasn't non-existent.
No, it wasn't. And then they went and tried to fix it. At least they got Drummond and I mean they tried Tristan Thompson first, and they got Drummond, who would be starting on a lot of other teams. And the Nets have done nothing to fix their front court.
They did all these. They made all these offseason moves, and none of it was what they needed.
Right. And there's
I mean,
still
there's no
there's
way.
still big
How did
men
they
that are
not?
out there.
I know. It's insane.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
All right. It's that time. Let's take it to the West.
Oh, the Lake
Lakers,
Show, is that who we're talking about?
The Showtime Lakers, yeah.
No, you can't even. They're so awful. You can't even joke that they're Showtime because they're literally the worst offense in the league.
Yeah, it doesn't even land the same. They're so
Brooklyn
bad.
is the worst defense. Shout out to KD and company. They're the worst defense in the league. Shout out to LeBron and company. They're the worst offense in the league.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious.
I would be honest, I don't have much more to say than what has already been said about them.
It's been talked about it quite enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and we knew. We looked at this roster. There's no good shooters on the roster. No even good shooters. Like LeBron can hit threes, but is he a good shooter? Not quite. Troy Brown, I dogged Chicago last year for having Troy Brown on the team. Now Troy Brown is like their sixth man.
Nah, man, you're forgetting Austin Reeves. Come on.
Austin Reeves, man. I don't even know. Kendrick Nunn looks horrible. He looks worse than I thought he was gonna look.
He'll be out of the rotation in like a week, honestly. The way he's been playing, it'll probably be less than that. He'll get another game and he might be done after that.
Which is crazy because they made it like a big deal that they were getting him back. It's done nothing. And listen, I'm not saying every time I say these things about these players, I'm never saying it to disrespect them as a player, because Kendrick Nunn probably should be in the NBA, but it's the way they hype him up. Like, yo, should he be our scoring threat off the bench? No, especially when your other guys you have out there with him are Wenyen Gabriel and Matt Ryan and Juan Toscano-Anderson. And I don't know. I didn't have NBA League Pass last year. I don't have it this year, so I don't watch every single game on television. But I've seen enough from Juan Toscano-Anderson to know that he's never going to hit a spot-up three-point shot. Not two in the same night. And no matter how many times you feed him, he's not going to turn into a consistent three-point shooter. I mean, the other night, I think there was their second game. He missed like 3 of them, and they kept feeding him. And one time he really didn't want to shoot it. I saw it in his eyes. He really did not want to shoot it, but they fed it to him. He's wide open in the corner. He looked around for a second. All right, I guess I got to shoot it. And he shot it, and it hit the side of the backboard. I'm like, oh, I kind of knew that was going to happen. I wonder why LeBron and them didn't know that.
I mean, all Lonnie Walker proved on the Spurs is I'm a freak athlete and I can't hit open shots. That's it.
That's all he proved in college at Miami. I mean, did they miss that? Did they miss the hair? Like, how did they miss who he was? Like, I don't know, man. It just seems like Darvin Ham is playing guys as if like
the Lakers are so bad.
For the first
Lakers
time.
are so bad. Darvin Ham is like competing with Nash for the worst coach in the league right now.
I know, man. He comes to the press conferences. He seems like a cool dude. Like, he seems like the coach that we had a coach I don't need to say his name, but he
Yeah.
seems like the coach that you like more than the head coach. Like
Yeah.
he's the cool coach, assistant coach. So I understand why he's been in the league this long because I bet players he yeah, he was in Milwaukee, but the Milwaukee players really liked him and he said he had a good rapport with those guys and that's clear. He seems like someone really easy to get along with. But when it comes to actually making the game decisions or um using the guys right, I don't see it. And
Uh, it's so much worse than Vogel, to be honest. And I'm not even really mad that Vogel got like he with how awful it was, he had to get fired.
yeah, he did.
And it looks worse.
And getting fired,
The roster's worse and the coaching is worse.
yeah. And listen, I'm not gonna say Darvin's a bad coach because it's early, right? It's only 4 games of his
Yeah.
career, 3 games of his career. So I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is I'm watching the Lakers and they don't look like they're doing anything with any purpose. And none of the players look like they are playing in their role other than Lonnie Walker, because all his role is to attack the basket at all times. And he's
Yes.
doing that for the most part. I think Lonnie Walker's played the best out of everyone on this team.
Yeah.
But
He's doing similar to what Monk did for them last year, where like when you're kind of trusting him to be aggressive on a hot night, he'll attack relentlessly, which they need, honestly.
yeah, and he's a little bit bigger than Monk and he might have a little more of a ball handling, more one-on-one bag than Monk. And it's not Monk's fault. It's just not how he plays.
Yeah.
And he's doing well with it. I think he attacks really well and he provides that spark for them in the offense. But the other stuff that's happening with them, Westbrook being a spot up shooter is not it. Anthony Davis, I don't know what spot Anthony Davis is supposed to be on, but every time I see him catch it, I think that, oh, I don't think he's supposed to be in that spot though. Like every time they run a play to him, he's in a weird place. Or in a position where he really can't score right there from where he is. So it's going to take 8 seconds out of the shot clock and everyone getting on one side of the court for him to work. And we're just not in that day of basketball anymore. Like, you know, um, the triangle offense worked in that way. But now Anthony Davis being on an island and everyone else being crowded on the other side of the court, like between the corner and the wing, it's not going to work right now, especially not for 48 minutes, maybe a
I
quarter.
think it
But
does work. I'll push back a little bit. I think it does work. I think I'll even say they're starting to mold a way they could play and be successful. They're better defensively.
let me say this about how it would work. It won't work if you don't have any good shooters on the team. Like it works for Denver because they do that really well and they crowd one side and Jokic can make a cross court pass and it's a bucket. But if Anthony
Denver
Davis
has
isn't
good
going to
shooters.
pass,
Denver has good shooters. They've always had at
right,
least somebody who's a good shooter.
right. And if one, Anthony Davis is never going to pass out of there, and two, if when he does pass out of there, is going to be for Juan Toscano, Anderson, or Westbrook to get a spot up three, it's not going to work for the season. That's all. Anthony Davis could score from there all day, and it may help them win. But if that's what they're going to rely on, it's not it. But I agree with you. I agree with you. They are finding ways that they can win
because they're slowing. And the Portland game was a great example. Is Portland is explosive up and down. You'll, especially like you said, you can't shoot the ball. You're never going to beat Portland.
Yeah.
But if you slow the game down, you have a chance.
Yeah, because you're always going to have a mismatch with LeBron on anybody.
And they did that with the Clippers also. They got stops. They created like more of a disorganized kind of game. And it slowed the Clippers' momentum down. They couldn't have as much rhythm. They missed a lot more shots. Like that's a method the Lakers could win, which I'll give them some credit because last year I saw none of that. they couldn't shoot, couldn't defend, and they were trying to run with everybody, which was just sick.
Now, do they have a slowdown kind of game roster though? To you?
My problem is it's a lot more simple than that. I think Anthony Davis fucking sucks. I think he's lazy. I think he's like flat out. I think he's lazy.
Yeah, he is.
Like,
he's lazy and a little bit selfish.
That Golden State, he's more than a little bit selfish, it's looking like, but I'll let that go because we'll have the rest of the season to see that.
Yeah.
Golden State opening night was a flawless example. He worked really hard and dominated the opening quarter.
He did.
Did you see him work hard from that point on? Because I didn't. Because when Looney's out there, it's very easy to like, okay, I see a big man who's working hard. Is the other big man working hard? And I can tell you now, Anthony Davis was not at all.
Right.
Like, bro, forget, okay, you're an inside presence. You don't even work hard to expose mismatches.
Doesn't.
I mean, I remember years ago, Amari was getting dogged for never developing a post game until it was too late.
Yeah.
But that's like a skill that if you don't work on, you don't improve. You've been a top big man for a decade, and you still, like, a double team is unfathomable to you.
You talking about Anthony Davis?
Yeah. How? Yeah. How do you not understand double teams at all? Like, all your coaches can't possibly be awful.
And the worst part is he's been a top big man because he didn't have a post game like before. Like, he was like, Giannis came in the league as a small forward, but Anthony Davis was like the center version of Giannis.
Yes.
Like, he's a center size that does what Giannis basically does.
I thought he was a rebounding machine.
He was.
Where?
And the best shot blocker in the league. The best shot blocker in the league at one point.
Where did all that go?
I don't know, man.
Bro, that bubble run.
People got athletic. He got less athletic.
That bubble run, he was the best defensive big in basketball, I thought. I'm like, dude, he could switch everything. He could strap Jimmy Butler. He'll contain guards. You can't keep him off either side of the boards. He's huge. Like, he's shooting over guys who are his size. Bro, where is the work ethic? Can you sprint once and seal somebody, please? Just like one time. Can you fucking roll off a pick?
He only rolls when he knows he's going to get an alley-oop.
Please. And again, I understand with Russ, like, I wouldn't roll either because I know the lob's going to be inaccurate. But beyond that, LeBron can't get you a lob.
Westbrook throws good lobs sometimes.
Only to Steven Adams. That's it. I haven't seen him throw good lobs to anyone else.
And Steven Adams to catch should only be able to catch like the most basic of lobs. Like, he only gets a little bit over the rim for his size.
Dude, I honestly, that's my problem to me is what Russ is doing, he did last year. He has no IQ. We knew this. One night he's going to let Clay get as many layups as he wants, and the next night he'll guard Kawhi Leonard like an elite defender.
He was strapping Kawhi.
That's Russ in a nutshell.
The biggest, I'll sum it up for me with this team. The biggest issue, Ham, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Westbrook, this entire summer. I'm not sure when they announced Darvin Ham as the coach, but since they did, so I guess I won't say him for the whole summer because I don't remember when it was that he was announced. But Westbrook, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, this season starting, I have seen no development of them, like, knowing that they were going to play together again this season, working hard on, okay, let me adjust my game so we can play together. What do you guys need me to do? I'll adjust so I can play with y'all. I haven't seen that from any of those three. And LeBron, I think, can fake it the most because he's played with so many different players, and everyone has to play with how he plays anyway, right? He doesn't really adjust to other people. So it doesn't matter as much because if he's not doing what he's doing, they're not going to win anyway. But with Anthony Davis and Russ, I haven't seen them adjust their game saying, all right, we have this roster, we have this coach. How are we going to do this? I haven't seen it. And I've seen like the big three. Let's go back a little bit to the Celtics big three. When they got together, it wasn't like, oh, this is a match made in heaven. Oh, this is going to take them right to the finals fit wise.
I
Like
thought it
roster
was.
wise, no, I
Didn't
mean,
they start off like 20-2 or something like that?
no, but I mean, I'm not saying on the court. I mean, just on paper, the trade.
I got you.
But they worked together and said, how are we going to make this work? And they did it. I mean, Garnett talks about it all the time. I met with you and said, yo, where do you like your screens? How can I do this? They talked about all that stuff. I haven't seen any of that on the Lakers. And they've been together for 2 years. I saw it in first 10 games of the Celtics.
Let me tell you the biggest lie of the summer. That Russ, AD, and LeBron got together on a phone call and vowed to make it work. From what we've seen on the court, that is the most blatant lie I've heard this year.
The thing is, man, I could believe it was a phone call because they haven't done anything in person to show that they've worked together in person. And that's the problem.
I bet you if you looked at the Lakers preseason footage, like practice footage, they always worked out separately. I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
it's no clear. Chemistry at all. How do you not have any chemistry? I've never seen a duo of high-level players, let alone a trio, go into a second year, and honestly, their chemistry looks worse.
Right.
How is that even, like, from a basketball perspective, how can that be possible?
I don't know, man.
It's just bad.
And that's my point. Their chemistry doesn't look like it's gotten better at all. It doesn't even look like they are trying. And that's, I've never seen that from players that good. Normally it's like, hey, we're good players. Let's have a meeting and let's figure it out. I mean, I think even the young guys do that. And I know, like I said, I know that the Celtics did that because Paul Pierce was the go-to guy and said, all right, well, we're all go-to guys. So how do we do this? And they talked about it. But the Lakers, I don't see them talking about it. I don't see any effort.
I see more effort from Kyrie and KD to work together.
Bro, I've seen more effort from Brunson and Randall to work together. In 3 games, I've seen more effort than I've seen for 2 seasons of this.
I saw more. I'll give you guys who probably didn't like each other. And Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns back in the day tried to make it work better than it. They seem to actually get along or not.
You're right. And, they're not even, neither of them are even close to Anthony Davis and LeBron. And like I said, I know that when you get a new guy or when you're 2 bona fide guys, you get together, you have to talk about it and figure out how you're going to make it work.
That's why it's shocking that, like, it should be clear cut that LeBron and AD are like Russ is handicapping them. And it's not clear cut. To me,
it's not.
AD has had just as much of an impact on Russ playing horrible as the other way around.
I agree.
So it's like, that's what I don't understand. You think getting rid of Russ fixes that AD still won't sprint back on defense? I mean,
right.
Honestly, I feel bad for Darvin Ham. That's really it.
I don't, because he has to have some responsibility too, because he knew, like I said, he knew that what the team was going to be. All 3 of these guys knew that the team was going to be this. I mean, I know the trade talks, they allegedly were trying to get rid of Westbrook, but I didn't see that much effort in that either. Yeah. So they had to have known this was going to come. And like I said, I see no effort in making it work. Nothing.
And on a personal note, like, I hate bad basketball, but it's like a joke at your own fan base to pretend like Pat Bev is a starter. Speaking of more fouls than fucking baskets, he's got significantly more fouls than baskets.
Yeah.
He's 1-4 like every fucking game. Why in God's name is he still a starter?
Yeah. What was the stat? I told you 9 fouls and
3 makes, something like that.
yeah,
I'm
it's
pretty
something really
sure
bad.
the first 3 games he was like 1 for 7, 1 for fucking 8, and then 1 for like 11.
1 for 5, 1 for 7, 1 for 3. He fouled out
Okay.
and well, he didn't foul out, but he had 5 fouls in the
Can we
1 for
can
5.
we get over these guys who just fucking hack? They're not elite defender. Like Marcus Smart doesn't foul out every night because he's actually an elite defender.
12 fouls in 90 minutes. That's what it was. He only has 2 fouls less than Ben Simmons.
Okay, but like Pat Bev, I expect this. My problem is he's starting. You already have a guy who the basketball world is saying doesn't fit on your roster, and now you're starting another guy who doesn't fit in that lineup. I mean, Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, y'all are like, good luck to whatever the fuck this shit show is. Dude, and if Pat Bev starts for another week, I'm done with this team. Like, I'm not even gonna waste my time. Why?
He's about to be starting over Russ. They're about to sit Russ, so you have to start a point guard.
I'll give him a chance when they finally fucking acknowledge how horrible. Which again is another thing. Russ has still been horrible. Why are they so desperately like? Can the media please stop disrespecting Russ? He went 0 for 11.
I know. What are we supposed to do with that? We're just supposed to be like, oh, it's okay.
Bro, I play in the men's league. I play in a men's league. And every guy who has a rough shooting night gets clowned by the entire roster.
Yeah.
Like 0 for 11. And come on, guys, he played hard. Who cares?
And the thing is, if they had won, it would be a different story. If they won, Westbrook played great D, and he just shot bad. It's completely different. Like we have no. I mean, he probably would still get clowned, but not as much because at least he contributed to a win. But you can't lose shooting 0 for 11 and get pulled and make that dumb shot at the game. You can't do all that. I mean, take the dumb shot at the game. You can't do all that.
I mean, yeah,
in the game.
That's why like.
And then lose to your nemesis.
You're shooting that Portland game. Stop. It's a one-sided rivalry.
I mean, it's still his guy. It's his guys who
Dame doesn't respect him enough for him to be a nemesis.
He respected him enough to wave.
You're right. That's true. But honestly, man, like that shot in Portland was the true. Like he doesn't give a fuck about the team at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
For him to be 4 fucking 13 or whatever he was, coming off of 0 for 11, and he thought he was the one. Again, forget the situation and how dumb it was to go 2 for 1 in the situation.
Yeah.
You're the guy.
Because Westbrook couldn't make that shot. It just wasn't. It wasn't he wasn't the person to take it at that moment.
He can make a 3-pointer. Doesn't mean I won't be okay with him never taking a 3-pointer in his life.
Right.
Just eliminate Russ. Just stop. I don't care that you still make them. Just stop.
Yeah.
Give up.
Yeah.
How, again, another guy, I don't understand why they're defending him. Why? You're clearly setting him up to be the fucking, as Brooklyn is setting up Nash, just lobbing him up to get fired. Yeah. The Lakers at this point are, Russ, we're ruining your career. Here you go.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm Russ, I would want to leave because of all this. And I don't think I don't think that he's as bad of a fit as like, I do think there's a scenario where Russ on this team makes this team really, really good.
Yes.
It's just, I haven't seen any effort of anyone else trying to do that. And they're, LeBron and AD are almost like the two girls that don't like the new girl, don't want the new girl in the clique. Like that's how it looks like to them. Looks like to me while they're on the court. It's like, yeah, we got this. Oh, Russ is here now. We got to we have to take less shots. Now Russ has to be involved and we don't really want him involved. That's kind of how it feels because they do throw him under the bus with everything.
It's becoming more and more difficult to, like, LeBron, you're saying like, I don't want to fucking be part of like the Russ narrative. but yet you're fucking like you're throwing a fit when he does dumb shit on the court, which he's done the entire time he's been there.
Yep.
I haven't seen it. Which LeBron, you do dumb shit on the court too.
Yep.
I see no frustration from you when you throw a fucking pass right to the other team, which he still does all the time. Yep. Why would Russ feel any remorse? Because he's making the same mistakes you are. Honestly, man, right. LeBron's leadership is looking more and more suspect by the day. Throwing the shooting under the bus after the first game, no shit. We don't have any lasers. No shit. Maybe if you didn't go 3 for 10, your shooting wouldn't look so trash. Maybe how about maybe? I mean, I'm a reasonable guy. How about maybe knock down some fucking free throws? Right? Maybe we make some free throws, things will open up.
Yeah.
But we can't even do that. But Toscano Anderson breaking 3-pointers, he fucking sucks. Like, where's the shock? I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, man, it just seems like he's never watched anyone else on this team play. Like,
it's just bad. They're all around bad.
Do you think these guys make shots in practice? Do you think like Beverly goes 10 for 10 in practice and Toscano Anderson goes 10 for 10?
Toscano Anderson, maybe. Beverly, fuck no.
Yeah. And Matt Ryan, they throw out there. I mean, and act like
Matt Ryan is probably their practice shooting demon too. Because why else would he get on the court?
I know he can't guard anybody, and they act like he does something other than shoot, and he doesn't. So.
He's just like heavy out there.
Right. All right, last team. I saved this for last because I know you have so much to say, and I'm just gonna let you rock. And that is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh man,
1-3.
I really hate. I hate that how this roster has disappointed and not lived up to expectations.
Yeah.
Like this roster is so fucking good to me and it looks trash.
Yeah.
Now, I know they got a win, I think.
They did. Yeah.
So they're not over, but I'm still fresh off the San Antonio loss, which is egregious. For those who saw the game, it was even worse than the fact that you lost to a lottery team. It's how you lost, as a lot of people say. There's so much wrong. Again, 4 games shouldn't be. I know I shouldn't overreact, but like everything looks wrong with one exception. And I'm ready for the apology. I need to see more of a sample size, but Harden, I'm ready. I like what I'm seeing.
Harden looks great.
He's back. I mean, he looks like one of the top 3 to 5 best shooting guards in the league, no question.
Yeah.
That's all I hated last year is I wanted to still have him in there and it looked questionable. He looks like it.
Yeah.
Beyond that, everything looks bad. Every single thing. Maxey was your second best player in the playoffs. Why does he still have to hunt his own shots? Why does he have to force? He has to like force himself into the offense. We can't do anything to get him an easy opportunity. Like I see they try opportunities for Harden to get easy shots, but Maxey doesn't get that. Probably one of the the streakiest players in the league, one of the quickest guys to heat up in the league. We can't get him easy shots ever.
Right.
I mean,
and when he does get an easy shot, it's not a shot that he likes. Like it's he's not really a catch and shoot shooter. Right. Or he's not a catch and shoot shooter, or he's not like a ISO out of the corner kind of guy. Because he likes to go both ways. He has a really quick first step, and they don't really use it at all when he's playing how he's been playing in these games.
So, okay, Maxey was the guy I was excited about. You're not using him right, but there's so much talent on this roster that should matter, right? If that was the only problem, it wouldn't be a problem at all. I probably wouldn't even have mentioned it.
Yep.
Embiid, can we work hard like for a couple minutes at a time?
Can we stay off the ground for one game? Just
No,
once.
honestly, man, Embiid has been blatantly stat chasing. Straight up, he
Yeah.
hasn't defended at a high level, and I know he's one of the best defensive bigs in the league. He hasn't rebounded at a high level. I know the stats look like he's getting rebounds. That Spurs game, Pirtle was dominating him on the glass, which is I couldn't. The next worst is like Claxton. That's the only person I could think of would be worse.
And I'd even accept Claxton because he jumped so high, but
Right.
Pirtle
Like
has
Pirtle,
no
you know
reason
he's
to
not
dominate.
jumping. You know he's actually positioning Embiid to get those rebounds.
Exactly. That's what makes it really bad. Yeah.
Which is bad. And he was like, okay, a high energy big. He gets a rebound. He kicks it out. He was scoring off of them. Bro, Embiid, like, speaking of guys who don't roll to the rim, can we set a screen and roll, please? Bro, every time he actually rolls to the basket, Harden gets him an easy layup.
No. And now they're doing like that like screen just to get the switch.
Yes.
Like he just goes up there, stands there.
I can't stand that shit.
They switch and then he just backs up, like eases away with the better
You think
defender.
they're Memphis. You think it's John Morant out there with nobody. Like, this roster has so much fucking talent. Tobias Harris starts off 5 for 8 every fucking game and is horrible in the second half.
Yeah,
that's like a trend at this point.
I know. And it's like he misses his first 3 every game, and then he makes the next 3, and then is like,
and then he's cold because he gets
he's cold for the rest of the night.
3 shots the rest of the fucking day. Yeah. Another guy, another high level offensive player. You barely ever run a play for him, Doc. I mean, we're spamming Embiid ISOs, but our talented roster gets nothing.
And I would say Tobias is their most versatile player.
Exactly.
And have you ever seen Tobias in a mismatch?
No.
That you've noticed, like, oh, Tobias should score on this guy? No, but he still goes and has to hunt for a bucket. Yeah.
I mean, again, a lot of their problems are so exposable because Embiid is not working hard.
Yeah.
He's killed so many possessions just holding the ball. Tatum was disgusting with this a couple years ago. And to his credit, has gotten much better. Yeah, Boston now is like the most versatile team in the league. And their roster hasn't changed that much.
As soon as he slowed down the ball holding, they go right to the finals.
Yep.
And they weren't even a finals favorite.
Right.
So, yeah.
Again, like, Harden is playing so well, he's not feeding off that. He's not feeding off of any of his other good players. He's either forcing his own shots or he's forcing them to take shots. It's never natural. It's never in rhythm. And he's such a good player that, unlike Anthony Davis, he could still get you 35 and 15 and still look unstoppable. But it's like the effort isn't there to win.
I agree. Yeah.
It's just there for the MVP stats.
Yep. And with Harden, one concern for me is Harden shouldn't make your entire bench look awkward. Like, usually the guys with Harden and even with Embiid, it used to be real plug and play with everyone else on the court. Like the other 3 guys, it really doesn't matter who they are because we're still going to do our thing. Yeah. But now Niang comes in and I have no idea what he's supposed to be doing. Has Montrezl even gotten a shot off this season? Like,
yeah, they got a couple rolls.
Barely.
From Harden.
Yeah, but barely. They barely find any space for him to be involved. Dybul, I don't know what Dybul did to Doc, but Doc doesn't use him much. And then even House is struggling to get looks, and House used to get. I mean, House and Harden were a good match in Houston. Harden's the only reason House is in the league.
My thing is, like, Okay, those guys aren't playing well, but they're role players. Like that's
Yeah,
gonna
they're role
happen.
players. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I don't expect them to be consistent. One role play. How about you, Doc? How about we manage the goddamn rotation better? We
Yeah.
have all these options, and we're trying. Like he's trying to make a consistent rotation out of it.
Right.
With guys who have no business being part of like I'm sorry, PJ Tucker is a great guy. He works really hard. He's not a definitive closing lineup member.
No, he's not. Even
Like,
in his
why
prime,
are
he
you
wasn't.
still? That's what I'm saying. Why are you still at 38? Who, by the way, you just leave in the corner like it was 6 years ago for fucking Rockets, which I could have told you there's no point in even picking up PJ Tucker if it's just for that.
Yeah.
He's not, he hasn't been a throw him on the other team's best player guy for years. Let's be honest.
No,
What he has been is a reliable corner shooter, a surprisingly decent floater shooter, and a great rebounder. And he's never out there to rebound.
Nope. Most of the guys aren't.
I mean, Doc, why did you guys get him? To stand in the fucking corner? I mean, again, okay, let's say because Harden's playing well, he needs to just space it. Korkmaz, hello? The best shooter, potentially the best spot-up shooter on the roster. Where are you? He's buried so deep at the end of the fucking bench, we forgot he's even on the team.
2 minutes in 4 games.
I mean, we're not playing any fucking defense on lottery teams. Thibault, 4 minutes in 4 games. Your best individual defender on the team.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, House, I'm surprised he's playing this horrible, but he's played fucking horrible. Why are you like forcing him to stay out there? Yet Korkmaz, who's played well for you, by the way, like, again, I don't understand where the animosity comes from now. It's almost like Daryl Morey is in his ear, like, man, these Rockets guys I brought back, make sure they're out there. Why? They're not that good.
They're not. It's crazy that Montrezl has played well for Doc, and Korkmaz has played well for this team, and they're like, he struggles to do anything for them. Montrezl, he's just not making him fit, and then Korkmaz just not even playing him is insane. And he's probably the best shooter on the team, other than,
yes.
I guess other than Harden.
Even Shake Milton has played well for you.
He has.
I don't get with a roster with this much depth. Why in God's name is Niang the first guy off the bench?
That is really the craziest thing.
Korkmaz gets 2 minutes in 4 games, and Niang is first off the bench every night.
Niang is the 6th man.
I can't do that. Like, I've called him a scrub for years. How does Doc not see that he's a fucking scrub? What has he done on a fucking NBA court ever to show that he's not a scrub? Nothing.
I mean, he deserves to be on a roster, but 6th man is like, not. It's way over the top.
I got no problem with you throwing him out there.
Yeah.
Over Korkmaz? Are you insane? He's coming in before Daniel House? Are you out of your mind?
And Thibault should be starting.
Bro, I don't understand. Why is PJ Tucker the clear-cut 5th starter? For what?
I would understand it better if PJ was the 6th man. It would make more sense.
Honestly,
to me.
Yes.
With Thibault starting.
Doc, I mean, again, this is a team that, similar to Memphis or a team like Phoenix, like, even if you're struggling, the Clippers are another team. Even if you're struggling, there should be no issue winning games.
No, shouldn't.
And we have to battle San Antonio, and we get embarrassed so bad. We got blown out just in crunch time. Like, in a close game in the clutch, a team with guys who have no clue what they're fucking doing.
Right.
dominated you. That's
Yep.
just sick. That's
Yep.
again in an Eastern Conference where standings are going to get really tough really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of teams are looking really fucking good that we haven't even talked about in depth.
Yeah.
And Philly cannot come off this slow. They can't start this incohesive, inconsistent, lazy, predictable. Like everything I didn't expect to see from this roster, I'm seeing it.
Yep.
So Doc's clock is running out. I'll just say that.
I mean, they're only going like 8 off the bench most nights, and their team, everybody on their team can play. And I mean, dude, Chicago went 9 off the bench the other night and is missing 2 starters.
Missing their backcourt.
They're starting backcourt and they went 9 off the bench. You can't go 9 off the bench, Doc.
Bro, the Lakers don't even have the Lakers have the worst roster in the league, and they sneak in Matt Ryan to get some clock.
Yeah, but don't you dare put in Thibault.
But Korkmaz, it's just insane. Milton. Bro, Korkmaz was one of the biggest reasons they had great first quarters last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy who would always start off hot shooting the ball, especially when he started.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tobias does nothing for an entire second half, and God forbid, he's not in the closing lineup.
There's nothing every second half.
And yet we can't bench him. Yeah. Doc, what the and again, what's sick to me is the roster has played so horrible, and Doc is encouraged by this.
Yeah.
You're clapping, bro. Game 3, and the fan
base you were gonna bring up the clapping.
You. Of course, I had to, bro. Philly, New York hasn't gotten booed as far as I could tell.
No.
I mean, the Lakers are only Russ is getting booed in the tunnel after the games.
Yeah,
I'm sure Brooklyn has gotten booed. At least he won't surprise me at all.
And at least he's willing to fight the person booing him. At least he feels something from it.
3 games in, we're losing to probably the worst team in the league. We're getting destroyed to the point where the fan base is booing. And you're bringing in the team like this? Couldn't be me. That's all I'll say. Couldn't be me.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Coach Pop, who historically is never excited, is bringing in his young guys who are balling, who are competing. Good job, guys. Clapping everybody up. The energy is as if Pop is younger. Meanwhile, Doc is getting fucking embarrassed, and he thinks the right response is the same energy.
Pop is Pop's going to be in a wheelchair coaching, and the team has 0 direction, and he's out there, with more enthusiasm and doing the right thing for his team. And,
I'll tell you what, I'll give you an estimate. 10 games, if they don't have 3 wins, he's done. That leave you're 1-3 right now. If you're 2-8 first 10 games, he's gone. He's gone, Daryl Morey. I don't care how much you like him.
I agree.
This roster is too good. Darwin Ham, go to the lottery, bro. Everybody expects it. Brooklyn, fire Nash, or go to the lottery. Everybody expects it. This roster being this abysmal, no way. There's no way.
I agree. You're right.
Frank Vogel would come in and this team would skyrocket.
Yeah.
Manage rotation, Vogel's your guy. Easy second round.
Yeah.
Unreal, man. Unreal. I Doc, this has been a narrative.
It has.
You reinforced it last year.
Yep. That's what's scary about it.
More of the same. It's proving more and more accurate by the year.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna go in on the Heat, but I'll save it for next time. I'll let them play a little more games before
Maybe,
I say anything about them. What's up?
No, I was just I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. Obviously, a lot of preseason prediction or before season predictions, we got to wait and see.
Oh yeah,
Matherin looks like a lock.
He's tough, man.
For rookie of the year.
He's tough, and Indiana's not
It
gonna
took 3
lose that
minutes
bad.
of opening game for them. I was like, oh, this guy's gonna probably. There's probably no rookie who's gonna outscore him this year, and he's coming off the bench.
And they're gonna have a better record than Orlando, probably. I mean, Banchero looks really, really good, but if they're just gonna let him just take over every game, then
I'm assuming you haven't seen Indiana yet because they don't look good at all.
No, they're better than Orlando. No, and we don't know what's gonna happen with Buddy and Miles.
Yeah,
either.
Halliburton and Matherin look great, but besides that, the 2 games I've seen, atrocious. I mean, again, their bigs without Turner, they don't have a big man on the roster essentially.
I noticed that. Yeah, I caught a little bit of their game with who were they playing? I think Washington. Oh, I know. I caught a little bit of the Philly game. That's what it was, but they were getting blown out. So
yeah.
Well, we'll see. I like him a lot. He works hard.
I really like what I saw.
Yeah, he's tough. Teams we didn't talk about that we'll talk about next time. Charlotte, more about Atlanta, New York, Toronto.
I'm gonna be honest. Some of those teams I'm not really pressed. Some of those teams we'll talk about. I'm not sure if it'll be all.
Well, I should say this. We will have more to say about them because going off the first games, all those teams, I just don't really have much to say. I mean, Atlanta, I have a lot to say, but I need to see them more.
Phoenix is a team I'm curious to see a little bit more because I like and don't like some of the things they're doing.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're bringing mostly the same team back, so we'll see. But missing Crowder is showing. It's showing, I bet, more than they thought it would. But it's definitely obvious that Crowder isn't out there.
I'm not quite sold on Cam Johnson as a starter, like they seem to be. So,
or as a defender. I mean, he has a good body, but his feet are slow on defense. You don't have the lateral or the strength that Crowder has. Not many people have the strength Crowder has, but in Minnesota, I need to see a full game.
Their stats have looked bad, by the way. Like Edwards had the one good game, and have you checked their other box scores? He's been having horrific shooting nights.
Yeah, and for some reason, it looks like Gobert is like their best player, and that's not good.
That is not what I expected or wanted to see at all from this situation.
Yeah, and even the depth that we talked about when before the season, a lot of those guys aren't even playing, which is strange to me. So I do need to see it. They are leading the league in rebounds right now, rebounds per game. So, but that was expected. I think everyone knew that was going to happen. So we will see. No time for football today, but we're definitely going to get back to football. There's more good games this week. I don't think we really need to tell anybody how bad the quarterbacks were that are getting benched or cut.
Man, there's a lot of bad quarterback play right now. Whew.
Yeah.
From who we thought were high-level quarterbacks.
Or at least hoped would be high-level quarterbacks in the future. But All right. As always, thank you for listening. Please subscribe, follow us, keep watching. We'll be back next week. And see you guys next time.